are phasing out. Why? Because tablets are coming up. And so, get it at the back of your mind that there are skills that are relevant to you. And those skills are things that you must begin to imbibe. So let me tell you about those skills now. I'm mindful of time. So let me tell you about those skills so that you're quickly able to adapt. The first skill I want to talk to you about is digital literacy. Now, digital literacy is different from AI literacy. And by the way, these skills are the top 10 skills that the World Economic Forum has said are very relevant to everyone. What does digital literacy mean? Digital literacy means that you must be able to understand technology. It is different from AI literacy. AI literacy means you must be able to use AI tools. So when you want to talk about AI literacy, then you are talking about prompt engineering. How do you write a prompt for ChatGPT to understand? For ChatGPT or Gemini or Copilot to know that this is the specific results that you want to achieve. But before you go in depth into AI literacy, you must understand digital literacy. It's key. And every young person is moving towards that. I was talking to a young man 2 weeks ago. I said, what do you want to do with your life? You're 33. And he says he wants to go into social media management. I never even knew that there was something called, like someone takes a career in social media management. And so I got interested, right? You know, there are some things that come out of let me use the word fluke. Meaning that it's not deliberate, it's not intentional. You start it, and then all of a sudden you see you're making money from it, and people join the bandwagon. And this person said social media management. And I said, fantastic. Let's build your skill in that. How do we build the skill in social media management? He said there's a school where you can learn social media management. I said, that's not possible. Is it not to carry your Instagram and learn how to be an influencer? How do you learn how to be an influencer? Go and learn from other influencers on Instagram. But guess what? I was interested because there's a school that is teaching people on social media management. Somebody has seen an opportunity in digital literacy and is using that as a source of income. So there's so many things around you that you can use and you can build upon. The second skill is data literacy. So this means understanding how to read, interpret, and act on data. And you use that because it's something that you use to get insights, data literacy. The third skill I'm going to talk about is adaptability and learning agility. Now, one thing about life is the fact that in changing and in becoming someone that can adapt, you must also be agile. Agility means do you know a chameleon? Your ability to change color when it is time to change color. That's adaptability. So if something is changing in your place of work, your ability to quickly adapt, not to say, don't worry, it will soon die. Sometimes it doesn't go away. You must be ready to change and evolve as it happens. And then there's something called emotional intelligence. I call it EQ. If you must go far in life, there's certain things you must have. You must have IQ, intelligence quotient. You must have sense. You must have EQ, emotional intelligence, emotional quotient. Your ability to be empathetic to people so that people understand that, oh, this person, I can relate with this person. You must have LQ, leadership quotient. Your ability to lead and people will follow you. And then the final one, you must have PQ, political quotient. You must learn how to play the politics. Especially in Nigeria, if you don't play the politics will play you. These things are very critical for everyone. And then, finally, another skill that I believe very strongly will remain in demand is innovation and critical thinking. What does it mean to be a critical thinker? I'm not talking about a critique. I'm talking about a critical thinker. You see something, you feel it can be improved upon, and you put it forward in ways that help people to build on it. one of the issues that we have in Nigeria is we have a lot of critiques. We don't have critical thinkers. So we see something that is wrong, and the next thing we hear is, this government, blah, 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 blah. But okay, think critically about how you can improve the process in your own little way. So we need critical thinking. In your place of work, you need critical thinking. It sets you apart from all the others. You need to innovate. And sometimes innovation is that light bulb moment, that idea that comes to your mind, and then something inside you says, don't say it, or if you say it. But then guess what? You refine the idea and you say it. And then when you say it, someone says, oh, that seems to make sense. Let's try it. And, I put some other things on the side. Yeah, there's creativity, there are ethical considerations. But these skills are things that you need to know so that you become relevant and you stay relevant in a changing technological world. So what's the call to action for everyone? The call to action is that as professionals, we must embrace lifelong learning. That means that you must never stop learning. You must never stop learning. Every single time, engage yourself in learning opportunities. And when I say learning opportunities, I'm not saying that you must go to a formal institution where you have to learn. No. Do you know that technology has made it so simple for you to learn now? There are various platforms that you can log into and you begin to learn things about things that you don't know. You can become a data scientist even if you read Yoruba in university. How? Go online. So don't stop learning. And again, as professionals, you must get comfortable with discomfort. What do I mean by that? When things change, like I said, be a chameleon. Change with it. But the process of changing is not a comfortable process. The process of change is a process that needs you to step out of your comfort zone. It's something that you need to do. And then if you're an entrepreneur, you're an employer here, you're a leader here, what are the things that you need to do so that you become relevant? You need to design your business for change. You need to design your business for change. In the past, a lot of people needed to have ownership of certain things. So, for instance, if you talk about a company like Netflix, Netflix is the single largest streaming platform in the whole world, but do you know what? They don't own one single movie. Uber, the largest ride-sharing platform, does not have one car attached to it. Because they designed for change. And so they're coming and they're using the platforms that are available to build the business. So if you're an employer here, entrepreneur, design for change. What's the least possible business outcome you can get from spending the least amount of capital? Or should I say, what's the most, or the optimal? Yes, the optimal. What can you get? You spend less, but you get what? A lot. And then, I'm a HR professional, so I will always say you must champion people-first oriented policies. You must make the people that work for you happy. If they are not happy, they will spoil your business. I pity business owners who don't make their employers happy. I see it a lot when I go to restaurants. The waiter is not happy. He'll just be treating you anyhow. In your mind, you say, I will never come here again. But if you make that waiter happy and he serves your customers well, he helps you bring repeat business. Come, let's go to that restaurant. It was a nice place. So you must champion people-first policies. Policies that make people excited to come and work with you. And then you must lead with empathy and you must lead with vision. Now, let me give you something to think about. So this food for thought is something that you should just ruminate on. AI won't take your job. It's a popular saying. It won't take your job. But someone that is using AI will take your job. So don't worry, don't be scared that AI is going to take your job. Actually, the truth is that in itself, AI cannot take your job. But someone who has built their skill, their knowledge, their expertise in how to use AI is going to take your job. I used an example somewhere. I said, before we used to like accountants. We still like them, by the way. Don't think if you're an accountant here. And, the reason why we like accountants is because they're very good with reconciliation. They're very good. You give them all those Excel sheets, they quickly do it. I have a very big surprise for you. With AI, I don't even need that accountant, because there is a tool that I will throw everything inside, and in less than 20 seconds, it'll tell me everything I need to reconcile. Everything I need to reconcile. So, it is that person that has learned how to use that tool that is going to be relevant. I'm not saying that the accountant, by the way, if you're in HR, I'm happy for you. Every business must need people. So there is no way that AI can come and really, really take the job like that, because you must deal with people until we start dealing with robotics. But until then, there's some rules that you must now blend your professional certification with AI literacy and knowledge. Now, let me quickly move on to this. I've talked about AI, I've talked about staying relevant, but I want to talk about self-identity, because this is usually the problem that I see most people face. And in self-identity, there are 5 key concepts that I want to talk about, because they're interconnected, they're interwoven, and literally, if you're able to get these 5 key concepts right, you're on the path to greatness. The first one is your purpose. For everyone that is listening to me, you must know your why. Why is a critical question you must ask yourself. Even in marriage, before you marry, they say purpose before partner. Know your why. So you must know why you are here. Why am I going through this career path? Why am I doing this? And then after that, you must know your passion. Your passion. What is that thing that you love doing effortlessly? If they wake you up, you will do it. You'll be excited that you are doing it. So what are those activities and interests that ignite your inner fire, your inner passion? They bring joy to you. They make you feel alive. And then the third concept I want to tell you about is your vocation. Your vocation is something that typically everyone should have. Why? Because your vocation is what you are good at. There are some people, they're very good in handcraft. Some people, they're very good intellectually. What is your vocation? What is that skill, the innate talent that you have, that people know, they know that you have that thing. And when they see you, they say, you know what, give it to that person. He can do this very well. And then the fourth one is your profession. Your profession is what you get paid to do. Sometimes there's a blend between your profession and your vocation. But your profession typically is what you can be paid for. That thing that you can do, the practical aspect of your work that you can be paid for. That's your vocation, your career, the business through which you earn a living. And then finally, your mission. Everyone has a mission. Every single person has a mission. Interestingly, I was thinking about, these 5 principles, and I was looking for someone who I could relate it to. And David in the Bible came to my mind. David, his purpose. In fact, let me start from here. What was the thing that David liked to do? His passion. David liked to play the instruments. In fact, he was so good, he played it. The evil spirit that was troubling somebody came out. He did not pray one prayer. And so that was something that was very important to him. And his mission to the whole world was to bring down somebody called Goliath. That was his mission. And so even though he wasn't prepared, the opportunity came. They asked him, who is this person that is always bragging and boasting? And he came out and said, wow, uncircumcised Philistine. That was his only purpose. He didn't need a spear. He didn't need a bow. He didn't need an arrow. He just needed stones. So everyone has a mission. And so, If you think about these things, then you would know that you have a talent. And your talent is God's gift to you. But the question you should ask yourself is, what are you going to do with your talent? Because let me tell you something. What you do with your talent is the gift that you are giving back to God. And so as I bring this short conversation to an end, I need you to just reflect. Do you even know your talent? As a HR practitioner, I meet a lot of people. In a week, I can have over 20 interviews sometimes. And something shocks me. One of the things I hear every time, or most times, when I ask, why do you want to do this? Is, I need the money. But sometimes it's not only about the money. Because you will change for the money, you will meet something you don't like in that place that you're not passionate about, and then you want to run out. So use your talent and give it back to God as a gift. Thank you very much. Okay.
Eden Life Experience Center is now in your city. God bless you. Bye. Hello friends, my name is Benga Jibola. Exciting news. My name is Benga Jibola. Exciting news for everyone around the Lekki Aja axis. Eden Life Experience Center is now coming to your city. Join me starting from the 1st of June for our first physical gathering going forward, and on the 29th of June for our inauguration service. The address is KWA Event Center, Avira Estate, Gate 3, Olokola Bus Stop, Aja. It's going to be an exciting time of hearing the word of the Lord and building community of faith-filled people. Starting from the 1st of June, every Sunday 10 a.m. and Wednesday 6:30 p.m. to bring you fresh word from the throne of grace. Join me. Your life will never remain the same again. I can't wait to see you. Eden Life Experience Center is now in your city. God bless you. Bye.
And I'll be the moderator for this session. So we have just 30 minutes, and I'm hoping that you'll be able to cover my questions as well as our participants. So please, if you have any questions from the presentation and maybe during the course of this conversation, please write it down and pass. And good morning once again. So let's start from your journey, and I'm starting from your journey because you didn't touch about your journey at all during the course of the presentation, and I think it is important that we know where you're coming from. Then we now talk about digitalization in the second part of the conversation. So you've been HR professional from the get-go of your career, and is this a strategic decision for you, or it was just a professional alignment? You're just moving from one HR role to another, or you were very strategic from the beginning? And this is because this is also tailored to people that are, torn between being a generalist and a specialist in different career paths. Please.
Thank you, Ayobami. Very interesting question, actually. Was my journey to HR strategic? In the first instance, no. And I'll explain why. So I started off my career in a bank, and I went through what they typically call the training school. I did very well. And in the training school, they saw that I could speak well, and I was very articulate. So the first thing that they did was that they sent me to become a salesperson, right? But in the training school, and this is one lesson I need to share with you. In the training school, when they were talking about what would you like to be, I said to them that I'd like to be a people practitioner, which is what you call a HR officer. But obviously there was no space then. So I said it in passing, I said it in my presentation, I moved on with my life, and then life happened to me. They moved me to sales, very, very tormenting period of my life. But eventually, I needed to look at the opportunity in that move. And I saw the opportunity. And before you knew it, after like 5 months, I was doing very well in sales, extremely well. So well that if I didn't come to the office, my branch manager would be very worried. And so someone was resigning about a year and a half after I said that thing in training school, a year and a half after. And they were looking for someone to fill her role. And she said, oh, there was one young guy in the training school that said he wanted to be a people practitioner. He spoke very well. I think that we can use him. Imagine. And then they called for me. And before you knew it, I found myself in HR. And that life lesson I learned from that encounter is that you should always speak up. Don't be quiet. Because if I had kept quiet and I kept it inside me, somebody will not remember a year after that there was a guy that said, I want to do X, Y, Z. And so when I went into HR, I thought it was very simple. I thought it was just meeting people, saying hello. You know, people think that that's what HR is about. Until I realized that it's actually a lot more stressful than that. And so guess what? Then I became strategic about it. And what was the strategy that I put into it? I put myself forward for opportunities that came up in the office regardless of the function. Meaning that there are different bits of HR and there are different parts of HR, right? And so anytime they were looking for someone to do something, I would be the first volunteer. Now, it was a sacrifice because it took most of my weekends. It typically took most of my time. But one thing that I gained from that experience is that all the knowledge I got in that period was knowledge that never got wasted. So, the fact that you see me standing before you today or sitting before you today, so that we put it in context, and I'm talking about HR, and maybe in my industry now, I'm the youngest CHRO in the country. The fact that I'm doing that is because I put myself forward to learn. A lot of people don't like to put themselves forward. You begin to hear things like, it's too stressful. There was a time in HR when I was leaving the office by 12 midnight. If I try it with somebody today, I'll be hearing things like mental health, work-life balance. But then, I was doing it wholeheartedly. Guess what? You see that area that made me close at 12? I am an expert in that area. But let me tell somebody that, I just hire somebody now, just even looking at this audience. And I say, I want you to start closing by 9:10. I'll be hearing things like, I'm not sure that this work is really meant for me. The issue is not that. You see, the issue is, how much of yourself do you want to devote to become an expert in your field? And so there's no knowledge that you gain that is going to be wasted. If you spend time building yourself, that time that you have spent is something that's going to speak for you in future. So, yes, now I can say I'm a HR practitioner. Now I can say I'm very conversant and I'm very knowledgeable about things in HR. But guess what? It didn't just come by sitting down and folding my hand. It took a lot of hard work. It took a lot of mental work. It took a lot of stepping out of my comfort zone, right? And developing myself to the extent that people will say to me, you need to take it easy. You need to take it easy. Guess what? I didn't take it easy back then, but do you know what? Now I can take it easy. Because I've spent time, I've invested time in it. So my journey into HR, initially it came from just dropping a comment, speaking up. But when I got into it, I didn't just say I wanted to be a specialist. So even in specializing, I went round. So I'm a specialist in everything. I tell my team, I say there's nothing in HR that you can use to bamboozle me because I know it. But guess what? If I was just a specialist, then somebody in maybe talent acquisition or recruitment will come and tell me, sir, we need to recruit people because, no, you can't just tell me that. You must even show me the science. In fact, I even like the science behind it. So when you are talking, you're not just talking, you must show me science. So I think for me, that would be how I became someone, how I became strategic about my decision to pursue a profession in HR.
Wow, thank you very much. A round of applause. And, I can actually relate to what you say. Yeah, you're a specialist, but you're a generalist at the same time. Like our pastor who said, there is seed in every seed, right? There is seed in every seed, right? So this is the seed in your seed. Thank you very much for sharing. And I'll move to the second part of the conversation now, which is about digitalization. And you've rightly said that the world is changing, and although there is technological tools, but how can we as a professional or as professionals leverage digital tools? And this is in terms of building our personal brand, that we can, outside of our 9-to-5 or outside of our traditional, job, we can also be.
If you don't know it, you cannot think about it. So, if you're going to be a thought leader, there are different types of. So let me even talk about this. There's digitization, there's digitalization, and then there's digital transformation. You need to find yourself in that spectrum. Where are you in the spectrum? A lot of us are in the spectrum of, should I say, digitalization. The world is changing, so we're trying to catch up, but we spend a lot of time trying to know how digitally prepared we are for things that are coming up. But if you look at it very critically, you have your normal 9-to-5. And if we're going to be very honest about our normal 9-to-5s, sometimes, most times, except if, I talked about your profession and your passion. Except if your profession is your passion. If it is not, most times your profession is just what gives you your daily 2K, right? But your passion is something that you love. So the question is, before you can become a thought leader, have you found your passion? What is that thing that you are interested in, that even when you are going through tough times, and it's something you are passionate about, you're going to continue to do it? So in being a thought leader about anything, first of all, identify what your passion is. What's your passion? I talked about social media management. I realized that it's a passion for some people now, right? How do you see someone that has over 20,000 followers on a social media platform, and the person says, I don't really like social media? How is that possible? So most times, there's some roles that you must be practical about it. What do I mean by practical? You must love it for you to do it. You must love it for you to do it. You don't like singing, right? And you're in the choir. How are you going to survive? But if you love singing and they want to do voice training, you're interested in voice training because guess what? You love singing. So let's not go too deep into the tough things. Let's just talk about the little things. What is that thing that you will see any day, any time, and you will say, I have a talent for this thing, and I want to know more about it. I'm interested in it, not just because everybody is doing it. There's a bandwagon syndrome, by the way, where everybody is going this way, you want to go that way. That's not the way you're supposed to go. It's for... You're right. Everybody, not everything is good for everyone. So guess what? To be a thought leader, First, identify your passion. And do you know the funniest part? Your passion can come in different ways, and it can manifest in different ways. I'm trying to remember a Nigerian lady. I can't really remember. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, and I stand to be corrected, this lady went to the White House because I think she could do moi also. Right? She could do moi. Thank you very much. Guess what? Do you know that it was her passion that took her there? The moi that we all eat, that we don't see any, just normal beans, soak it, make it. Somebody went to the White House because she could do that. I was driving through Lekki and I saw something akara. I can't remember the name. I'm really not well. But guess what? Why it's coming to my mind now is because somebody has seen an opportunity in that. I'm sure you're wondering why I'm using beans examples. I like beans. But you know, someone has seen an example in what we just do normally. And let me tell you one thing about this world. Sometimes being a thought leader is about your ability to package yourself. Your ability to create a brand around something. Right? And then people now begin to see you like, is there anybody here that has not eaten moi before? How come you didn't go to the White House? It's because she saw it. She saw the opportunity. And then guess what? She packaged it. She branded it. And before you knew it, she was sitting with the First Lady of the United States of America. So my point around this, and my answer to your question, Ayobami, is people just need to think around, how can I build myself? And I know you talked about personal branding. Don't get confused. Every single individual, every single one of us is a brand. It is your ability to nurture the brand, craft that brand, curate it, and sell it to the world that makes you a man of impact. In fact, now that I'm even talking about that, do you know, funny enough, that you cannot even be a thought leader if you are not someone that is bringing value to the table? So the question is, what is the value that you are bringing to the table? What's the value? I joke sometimes. There are some people that will say that they are resigning. I will shake their hand. I will say, thank you, God bless you. It has been a pleasure working with you. I wish you the very best in your journey. But then there are some people that will say they are resigning, and I will say, who is doing this to me? It's value. It's value. So think about it. How can I be a man or woman of value? Because that's what makes you a brand and a thought leader. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, to my next question, and I think that we've been having conversations just focused on professionals. Now let's talk about founders, right? And people trying to start up their own businesses. How can they identify, hire, and retain highly skilled? And when I mean highly skilled talent, because I know that there was. Let me just gist you. So sometimes last week or sometimes in the last 2 weeks or something, there's been like social media posts about how Nigerians or some Nigerians do not have the skill they sell on their CVs. That you would invite them for interviews, and they would bamboozle. And then when it's time to now let's see workings, and they are not anywhere to be found. So how can they identify? How can we remove the shafts and identify and hire the highly skilled, because they're actually highly skilled professionals in Nigeria, and I know that we have excellent professionals in this room as well. So how can employees identify?
Thank you, Ayobami. Your question is tough, and I have to answer it honestly. let me start from what you said. You know that there are highly skilled professionals in this room. I agree with you. But look at this compared to the population of Nigeria. So now let me start. It's a tough question, but I have to answer you honestly. To be honest, I'm not saying that we don't have highly skilled people in Nigeria, but a lot of the highly skilled people in Nigeria, they have gone. They have, that thing that they call Japa is real. It's real. It's real. I'm a HR professional. I see it every day. Sometimes people cannot even speak good English. Good English. Sometimes. But now, let's talk about the ones that are left, you and I. That have refused to go anywhere. For now. You see, there is Jakpa and there is Jakpada. Now, and I say that because you're right. You see, people are going abroad. They're leaving Nigeria to go and learn new things, different things, and they're going through a lot. Forget those people that are in the UK or in Canada that, social media, if you go on Instagram and you follow their life on social media, it can be misleading, because they are going through a lot. They will not tell you that they work 18 hours a day. Right? They will not tell you that when they are working, they cannot touch their phones. Right? They will not tell you that maybe they are 45 years old and they are reporting to a 22-year-old person. And because of all these things, there's no place like home. So there's Jakpada. Now, your question really is to employers of labor, how do you find people? It's tough to find the right people. So when you find them, you keep them. You do everything to keep them. And by the way, in HR, there's so many ways you can recruit. But let me not go into the details of that. Most times, what you need, not all the time, sometimes you need skill sets, but most times what you need in a good hire is attitude. Someone's attitude to go over and beyond the call of duty sometimes can save your business. So if you find someone who is willing to go over and beyond the call of duty, maybe the person does not have the skill. Do you know what? You can teach the skill. You can train someone to get the skill, but you cannot teach and train for attitude. Bad attitude is bad attitude. Simple. So, you're an employer of labor, maybe you're even a HR practitioner, you're a founder, you're starting your own startup. Will you find people? I think you'll find people. Will you find talent? It depends on how you position yourself to find the talent. Right? How do you position yourself to find talent? You must sell something that makes the person interested in coming to work with you. Sell something. The economy is tough now. So sometimes employers of labor think everybody is just looking for a job. You will find that person, you will find that person that is just looking for a job. But you see, that person that is looking for a job will not be committed to your business as much as someone who is looking to partner and grow with you as you start up your business. So you must think through it as a founder, let me tell you something. You must know your place in this life. Founders are visionaries. But 95% of the time, every founder needs an executioner. The person that you will give the dream, and the person will say, you know what, thank you for giving, you know what, just go and continue sleeping and continue dreaming. I will execute this for you. Every single founder needs that person that can execute. And so, when you're looking for people as a startup founder, you should look for someone that can execute. Why? Because even when you're not around, you see that person that can execute, they will continue to drive the business as though it is their own. But when you are looking for someone that can execute, find an executor that has a good attitude. You know, there's attitude and then there's aptitude. Attitude is everything. Aptitude, they can learn it later. I say it. I will hire somebody for tell me that you can do everything in HR. But in my conversation with you, I see that you are very proud, pompous, and I will not hire you. I won't. Because you'll be talking to a staff one day and you say, my friend, will you leave this place? And the staff will feel sad. Is this how they talk to people here? But you see that person that has attitude. When the staff is crying, you say, why are you crying? But you see that person that doesn't have a good attitude. When the staff is crying, you say, you're always crying. Can't you even do without crying? And then you now start hearing things like, you don't have empathy. No emotional intelligence. So when you are looking to start up your own business, congratulations. Get the people part right first. Get the capital. You will get capital whether you get angel investor or no angel investor. You will get capital. But when you have the money, you cannot run the vision on your own. You must get people that will help you run the vision. So look for people that have the right attitude. Look for people that are skilled. You said that everybody here. So look for people here who can do the job and execute very well.
Thank you very much, sir. Do we have any questions? Okay.
Good morning.
I want to ask a general question. I worked in a bank for some years before becoming an entrepreneur. And I learned my selling skills from the bank, and that has helped me a lot. So I have a younger sister that comes home and complains about her colleagues. And this is the person that she has zeal, she has passion to work. And during my career time, I told her two things. You don't have there's no friendship when it comes to among your colleagues. You guys are colleagues, there's no friends. We always fight because she has a friend that she trusts in her office. Then the second one is, she's a person that wants to learn. I can see the zeal in her job. Even if she works from home, she works till like 11 o'clock. And I can see the passion. But there is a colleague of hers that feels she do too much. Why are you doing too much? I mean, I'm ahead of you. I was supposed to do this. I was supposed to do that. And that really breaks her a lot. And she wants to say, okay, fine. I think I don't want to do. I said, no, you have to do more. How can she handle such a colleague that feels she do too much and she's over the board as an HR person? That she will not, it won't cause confrontation. It will not cause, okay, I want to withdraw myself, not to do more. And that's my question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, you pardon me, I can be very blunt. I think that, you know when you see a threat, you know a threat. Right? Maybe the person feels like this person, if the person continues doing this thing too much, the person will get noticed. And you see, something in the corporate ladder is when you get noticed, then people begin to relegate the other person. So, am I shocked at the advice given the context that you have painted? No, I'm not. Because if you see, she's a young person, permit me to say she's going over and beyond the call of duty. And then she has someone else that is trying to water down her hope, which you will find in every organization actually. There will always be that person that will come and say, your own is too much. What is it? Are you... In fact, they can even say, did they put your name beside the MD's name? They can say that. But guess what? Sometimes, some associations are associations that need to be severed. So, Let me ask a question. Did they join the bank together? I'm sure the answer to that question is no. They met in the bank. If somebody wants to leave the bank, I don't think that both of them will live together. So guess what? If she's not impacting her life positively, maybe you want to have a conversation with your younger sister and say, do you want to find someone else who can influence you positively? Because guess what? Peer influence is very big, especially for someone who is young. And they will listen to someone who says, why are you going over and beyond? Because what's the need for you? I've been there. I told you about how in the earlier part of my career, I did a number of things that people were like, what is it? What is wrong with you? Let me tell you something. See some of those people now. By God's grace, we know where we are. That's all I'll say. And what I'm trying to tell you is that if your sister keeps putting herself out there, she keeps showing that she can add value, and someone is trying to water down that zeal, then it's time to say, okay, maybe this person should not be close to you. And I think that's the way I would put it without sugarcoating anything, you know. There's some associations you just need to cut off because they're not going to lead you anywhere. There are different types of people you must meet. People that will add to you, people that will multiply you, and then there are some people that will divide your life. You meet them, you leave them worse off than you met them, and they even take from your life, they subtract from your life. So sometimes you need to deal with those other two people. I hope that answers your question. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other question?
There's a hand there.
Sorry, so we can only take one more, but very short, please.
Thank you very much, sir. My question is, perhaps as a choleric personality, what is the thin line between being outspoken and being proud? You know, in the space of.
A choleric is dominant, right? A choleric wants to assert himself. A choleric wants to show that he's there. A choleric is your general officer commanding, right? So guess what? You can be choleric, but you can still be humble. How? Have something upstairs. Have knowledge. You see, that thing that they say, empty vessels make the loudest noise. Meaning, you don't have substance and you are trying to assert yourself. Then people will say you are proud. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. But when you fill yourself with knowledge, right? Do you know that someone who is making impact, someone who is adding value, someone who is knowledgeable, do you know that sometimes people can accommodate your personality because they need to derive value from you? They can say, it's just that choleric behavior that he has. Let's just manage it. But it makes sense. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So, in essence, you can have that personality, right? But it's not the personality in itself that makes you. It is what you know, it is how you add value, and it is the level of impact that you make. Now, on a final note, if you are proud, don't be proud. Stay humble. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Just one question, sir. So, you are the group head HR, Providence Bank. So, people are writing CVs, resume. What are the things that you look out for? Now that I'm about to write my own. So, people want to, get jobs, and so as HR, what are the things that immediately you glance at a resume, the things that pop out to you, and you feel that, this person, so that we can start adding those things or adding those skills, or adding those knowledge.
Okay, so I talked about digital literacy. That's a skill that you need to have. That's something you need to put. You know, let me tell you something about me. If you meet me in an interview room, the first thing I look at is what you wrote on your CV. Some people write ability to work under pressure, multitasking. If you meet me, and there's someone that works with me, I will give you something that will multitask in that place. I want to test that skill. So, first off, don't put something you don't have and you cannot do. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So, you know, you want to write your CV. You just finished from the university. You don't have any work experience. You give me a 4-page CV. What did you put inside that CV, that resume that makes it 4 pages? First off, you must be mindful of how concise your CV is. A 1-page CV is fine for someone who's just finished their education. You have work experience, fantastic. Build on that work experience. Now, if you've just finished, so let me take it from those two angles. If you've just finished, you're an undergraduate or you're a recent graduate, tell us things that depict that you have a positive attitude. So tell us, for instance, things that you volunteered for in school that show that you went over and beyond, right? Tell us, for instance, someone like me, I'm interested in what you finished with in school. Forget, they say people don't look at your degree. I look